Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another edition of PPR Esports. I am your host, Best Teon, in the booth tonight, joined for the first time ever by IB Na, who is one of our new racers in PPR. We are very excited to have him. He'll be joining us in just a moment, but first, I'll run you through everything happening here tonight at the Red Bull Ring. The Red Bull Ring, it's going to be 35 laps. It's 10 turns around, 8 to the right and 2 to the left. There are 2 DRS zones, one along the pit straight and one along the back straight through the downhill portion. 4.3 kilometers, 2.6 miles around here, a very short lap. Most cars usually make it around in sub 105 times. I'll run you through everything. We got some news for you, though. A lot of driver transfers in the PPR market, most notably Capita Hood coming over to join the Red Bull squad here in Division 1. Ginger coming out and joining Alfa Romeo and winning in his debut race. Very reminiscent of Max Verstappen. So very, very exciting news. Vivid and Cheesy Train have taken over for the Haas squad, and EGC Sparky is moved from Haas to the Silver Arrows with Mercedes-Benz. And running through the championship order, of course, is the Williams team leading us off. B Dunk and Double OT, both in the top 10. We've adjusted the form for this second part of the season to reflect their, more recent stature, because these next 7 races will be different than the first 7 races. P2 in the Constructors, Saxman, Brackish, both in the top 10 as well. Saxman having a better go of it so far in this second third of the season, finishing 6th in France. Bringing up the last of the top 3 Constructors teams is Chandler Seda and PPR Nick. Chandler Seda has been on fire this year, looking to maybe pick that back up, having thrown an easy win away at Circuit Paul Ricard. And now onto the midfield. We've got a Racing Point, BWT Mercedes having some very consistent form. Andre Myrie and Ed being some of the strongest driver pairings on the grid. McLaren Renault, Boss Cookie's been in the mix with the top runners, but his teammate Run the Jules has been struggling to find his form this season. Alfa Romeo Racing, obviously, like I said, Ginger Horizon coming in to replace MRC. Loki having a very good showing of things so far, winning in that debut race, and Reimer unfortunately did not finish, but he's sitting 7th in the championship. And now we go to Mercedes, EGC Sparky, and Jay Lee. I'm sorry, folks, I'll have to run through the last couple teams here as qualifying has kicked off, and we've got plenty of cars onto the track. IB, why don't you take some of our viewers through some of the on-track action happening right now?
Man, so right off the bat, looking at the Force India pulling out here, while Force India Racing Point, all the same. Um, Coming out of the pits, he actually already broke an end plate off his wing. Looks like we've got quite a few cars out on track. We got Boss Cookie, we've got Double OT and Kappa Hood. A lot of fast people today. It's going to be a very tough qualifying session. It'll be interesting to see who can take that top position.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I know it's a bit of it's not really, I'd say, a close battle at the top, but there are certainly some battles to look at in the midfield. I know the constructors battle, it's certainly a little top heavy at the moment, but I think who would be your driver to watch today, IB?
I've watched a couple races with quite a few of these guys. I know Hoopalicious is fast from our Australian expedition. I know that gosh, who was it? B Dunk. He was up there as well at Australia. I think that they're going to be pretty close up there, but can't sleep on Ginger Horizon as always. Ginger Horizon has won our last expedition and then already won a race in the division. So definitely somebody to watch out for as well.
Yeah, Ginger really catching a lot of people off guard in that debut race, taking home a win after being tucked behind the leaders for the entire race, kind of capitalizing on a late move. Maybe not so much like Daniel Ricciardo taking it all 4 wheels off the track, but it was certainly a tasty move to say the least.
For
Uh,
sure.
and looking down their midfield battle, it looks like we've got a bit of a tight one. Boss Cookie is only 3 points ahead of Ed for P4, and then Andre Myrie only 10 points behind his teammate. And then from there, it's a very tight midfield battle, only about 10 points separating Brackish all the way down to Jay Lee. So 7th through 12th, very tight. And the top looking like it's going to be a two-way street fight between B Dunk and Chandler.
For sure. It looks like we have a couple of cars already putting in some lap times here. Chandler already topping the board with that 104.0. Um, B-Dunk not too far behind, about 210. Superlicious pushing in there as well. I think we're going to have a really close top end, especially with Chandler Sata, B-Dunk, and Hoopalicious. It's going to be tight.
Yeah, look at that. Already a very tight top three, only about 3/10 separating them. Whoa, look at that. Only 1/10 between P2 and P3. And then from there, only 5/10 to P4 for Capitol Hood. So very tight battle indeed. What do you think the strat is for today?
Um, I'm pretty sure that we're looking at a soft medium. If they can make these softs last long enough deep into the race that they're going to qualify on, they should be okay. Um, Maybe we'll see a little bit of the darkening sky though, like we saw in the D2 race from earlier. You know, maybe there's a chance of rain. Who knows? Unfortunately, we can't see the weather report up here in the booth.
No, we cannot, but it's usually you can presume that if everyone's running a soft tire, no one's really thinking about tire choice during the race, since that rule would be kind of let go for them. And that looks to be Ed into the gravel there. And Boss Cookie's retired from qualifying, it would
Oh
seem.
man.
Early retirement indeed. We got to Shadow on an out lap on those hard compounds, maybe looking to just get a little bit of practice in. And looks like we got a Red Bull on a flyer. Is that Delirious?
Yeah, it looks like Delirious is running up the hill right now, coming up to the end of the first sector here. This corner is going to be an amazing spot to watch in the race. As we all know, that is extreme overtaking, especially down this second straight, or well, the third straight here, down the bottom of this hill. It's going to be really tricky braking zone for a lot of people. You're going to see lots of outbraking and lots of attempts for overtaking there.
Do you think a lot of drivers will maybe not opt to make the pass down between turns 1 and 2 and maybe opt for that back straight? So they
Oh,
have
for
the lead going into the downhill portion?
Oh, for sure. If you get that going down that downhill portion, if you can exit off of, I believe what they actually consider turn three, because they
Oh,
consider
that
that
little
kink
kink.
turn two. Yeah, they consider that turn two, which is always hilarious. But I think once you get off of that hairpin up at the top of the hill, if you can get the traction down just right, you are guaranteed to have a much better run than a lot of people. You got to be careful not to run too wide. Got to be careful not to take too much of that inside curb as well, as always.
Oh, that inside curb can be quite the nuisance, can't it? Looks like we got Chandler Sada now on his outlap, looking to actually improve upon his time of 104 point flat. So trying to keep only 2/10 gap. Wow, I don't know where you can really find any more pace on this track unless you empty out the fuel tank and just run on air.
I know that a lot of these guys definitely, try to um, make it one lap only, and they'll drive back around on low fuel mode. Um, just got to stay out of the traffic, right? Got to stay out of the way of the other cars. So, I mean, we'll see here. I'm on board with Chandler right now, watching him go around. He's everything deployed, giving it full send mode.
Yeah, let's give it full beans. We'll ride along for a lap with him here. I'll narrate. We got Chandler Sada into turn 1, taking lots of that exit curb. That's what you're supposed to do there. Kind of want to kiss kind of this inside turn where the MotoGP bikes go, and then kind of hang to the left now for the uphill portion, braking at about the 50 board. Turning in late, so you want to kiss that apex right about there, and you're going to get right on the power again, not taking too much of that exit curb and risk being invalidated. DRS wide open, flying down into the downhill braking portion for Sector 2. Ooh, really late on the brakes there. Not afraid at all about a lockup, flying into the only 2 left turns of this track, up into 6, shifting down into 5th, letting the car coast, recharge a little bit of that battery, and hard on the power for the second left-hander of the track here. Riding that right curb out to the left curb. Let's see how he does there. Beautiful entry into that portion. Now the very tricky downhill right to a right-hander. A little bit of that inside curb turning in again. Let's see how he's done. Much slower. It looks like he might have backed off at one point there.
For sure. I mean, the main thing that you have to give Chandler here is his car positioning is on point. Riding on that onboard, he is putting the car exactly where it needs to be. He's gonna, looks like he's probably gonna continue pushing here.
Yeah, I think this might be the one he was actually planning on flying.
Yeah, just getting those tires really good and warmed up, huh?
Yeah, crucially, this track is it's hell on the right-handed tire, isn't it? All those right turns.
Oh yeah, I mean we saw the issue, of heating up one side at Bahrain over the weekend when we did our expedition race. It was just heating up one side of the tires, especially at the end of the course. So it's interesting because this is the opposite, right? We were heating up the left side at Bahrain, now we're heating up the right side. And it's just going to be really interesting here with as much fuel as this track takes, and it's going to be interesting with fuel loads in the race.
Ooh, and that looks like he just invalidated his time after setting that
Mm.
purple sector too. Such a shame. But looks like he would have been on for, probably like about a 1039, maybe 1038 there. Oh, and that's a Renault in the wall. That's the Renault of PPR Nick.
Nick is gone.
Skittering off the track there. Not
Mm.
sure what happened. Maybe we can ride on board with, I believe it's Brackish coming around turn one, or is that Double OT? Who could get a good view of him for us? It's one of the Williams cars, I believe.
It's like Reimer is pulling out.
Yeah, I got an aerial view right. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a front left failure. That's all she wrote, folks. Nick will start P18, barring any other changes to this qualifying order, penalties or otherwise. And is that GEM VW in the Alfa Romeo car? It's like he's, is that Ginger, or is that perhaps someone else racing in that car today?
I don't actually see Ginger on our list.
Well, very unfortunate. I was looking forward to some good D1 action involving him. No matter, though, whoever Gem is very fast as they set a 104.5 on the medium tires. About 1 second clear of the midfield who are out on the softs.
I mean, we are all right there in that 1 second mark. I mean, from P1 all the way back to P9 is separated by less than a second. And I mean, even a little bit farther back here. And it's pretty impressive. I do know in D2 we saw quite a bit of a train during the actual race. I'll be interested to see if we see that again and, see how close we are for a majority of the race here with these guys.
And that's the one thing this track has always been reminiscent of for me. It's a lot, not to compare F1 to NASCAR, but it kind of works on that same principle where you don't want to pull out from the slipstream because you'd be losing all that momentum that your competitors have.
It's true, and I mean, slipstream is just so powerful in this game. Not quite as powerful as I would remember in F1 2002, but it's extremely powerful in this game. And staying in that train is going to be just another challenge and add to that tire wear on this track that is already so demanding.
Very much so, and I've got word from our YouTube chat. It looks as though it is Ginger. That's his second account. Kind of going a little incognito to the circuit today, maybe wearing a mustache on his way through the gate.
Ginger was trying to throw us off, huh?
He was, and I hate to say it, I think he succeeded. And there's Reimer setting a 104.8 on the softs. Yeah, not to maybe a little bit like how Steven Alvarez has a Ram Shadow as well as Super GT.
Oh man, I mean he had us fooled for sure, but he could have just been somebody that snuck in the lobby, and we were like, what was going on? Taking over.
Well, Formula One is a sport of subterfuge and sneakiness, and PPR certainly is no stranger to any of those things. Is that the Mercedes of? Let me see here. Was that Hoopalicious on a flying lap right now?
Yeah, Hoopalicious just crossed the start-finish line, going into turn one, running up the hill. See how he does.
Feel free to narrate this one if you'd like. I'm following on board as well.
Oh, for sure. Here we go into turn three. Clip that apex just a little far away from it. Back end sliding around. Pushing really, really hard right now. Got that DRS wide open. Depleting the battery coming down here. How late will he brake? Oh, that's pretty good. He hit that apex just right, running it wide. Taking a little bit more track than Chandler did earlier. Let's see how he does through these two left-handers, the only left-handers on the course here. Taking just the right amount of curve on the inside there. Still pushing.
It's a purple sector 2 for him right there.
Oh, man. Let's see where Hoopalicious goes. It looks like he... Oh, is he going to invalidate? That was close.
Ooh.
There it is. There. Really? It didn't
wow!
Take it from him. It didn't take it from him.
I guess the marshals were going to let him... Excuse me, the stewards will let him off the hook on that one, taking...
I think we were the only person watching the live feed. The
Yeah.
stewards were, getting a cup of coffee there. I mean,
What
jeez.
did Carlos signs? These stewards are drunk. They're having a beer.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's craziness. I mean, great time. We're sitting here at a 104.1. I mean, he is closing in on Chandler. Hopefully, he has another set of softs, and maybe he can get around here again before the end of qualifying if he can get in and change quick enough. Looks like he's definitely running for the pit lane.
yeah, he's not taking his time getting back. Is he? Very close qualifying battle. I still can't believe they let him off the hook. He took almost a Monza-esque line through there on the Parabolica.
Oh man, it's ridiculous. I mean, he was completely off the track. I mean, not all four tires there, but hey, if it works,
If
right?
it works indeed. And he's diving into the pits now. Most of our cars in the pit. Andre Myrie on an outlap, as well as Jay Lee Bowens. I believe Jay Lee's going to be the first one around. We'll start with him. Jay Lee's one of our rookies this year, actually in Division One. Kind of having a bit of a rough go at it, making that jump from a lower division, driving without assists, and getting used to that kind of style of racing. Maybe, and that's already going to be an invalidation. I know earlier in the season, I believe he had a quali ban already for penalty points. So, what are your thoughts on that, IB? What do you do if you're in his position? You maybe want to make a statement.
I mean, I'll be real honest with you. Um, Mad props to him. Period. I still struggle driving with no assist, and it's extremely challenging. Depending on the track, I'm not gonna lie, I still run with him. Um, so he's definitely punching above his weight. It does take some time to get used to. I don't know how long he's been driving with him, but let's say give him a couple more races. Let's let him find his groove, and hopefully he can start to balance out and find his pace. It's always struggle.
Of course, of course. And now someone who's got lots of experience driving without assists is going to be heading down turn one, up the straight, getting a nice tow from the Mercedes of Jay Lee in front of him. Is Chandler on his flyer here? Looks like he's maybe looking to already smash that 104 flat. Not sure where you can find more pace. We got yellow flags all over the place. I think that's the Mercedes of. Is that Hoopalicious backing up right there for his flyer?
Uh, no, Hoopalicious. It looks like is down there on the straights. I believe that's Jay Lee who's still behind Chandler that was going slow. I'm not too sure. But man, it's going to be really tight for Chandler if he can pull off a faster lap. I'm personally going to be amazed. But I know that he does hold a lot of track records in time trial on this game,
I
so
was
it'll be
actually,
interesting.
yeah, I was going to practice the other day for one of my Division Three races, and I was looking at the top 10, like trying to steal setups. And sure enough, I'm scrolling down. I'm like, oh, Chandler Seda. I wonder who that. Oh, that kind of stopped me in my tracks.
Right, I think it was France I was practicing for, and I had just opened up the world timesheet, and it's like Chandler said at the top. I'm like, are you kidding me?
It is
How
weird.
how is that even possible?
It is very. It's such a fascinating feeling. You're sharing memes with someone one day, and the next you're seeing their names up there with the likes of international esports celebrities. So, quite the league
I
we
mean,
race in here.
oh, for sure. I mean, it's going to get real interesting if we can get, um, more drivers of his caliber. It's only going to get quicker and quicker and quicker, and it's such a blessing for PPR to have him in our league and have him as a part of the team. Especially his input is very much valued, and his talent is just mind blowing.
Very much so, very much so, and we are very happy to have him for sure. And that looks, we got yellow flags. It seems to be going someone slow, and it looks like Chandler and Hoopalicious going for the shootout here on the last lap. Chandler now starting his flyer, I believe, as he stayed out, and he's got that car turned up all the way. He's backed off. Oh, he's already done the flyer. Wow, 103.8.
Jeez.
103.8. Wow, I was a lap behind there. I apologize, folks. Completely missed that one. But yeah, I thought he was going slow through sector 2. I wasn't paying attention.
Man, Hoopalicious is pushing though. It looks like he took that extra lap just to come across the timing line in time to put in that final lap. So this is going to be a big one for him. Hopefully, we can see him move up. It looks like Kirk has retired and is moving down the field a little bit there as Kappa Hood bumps him. But man, this is going to be a hot last lap, and we're going to see. Hopefully, all the traffic can stay out of the way for
So
some of these
far,
guys
not
still on their
so
tires.
good. He had a snap of oversteer there going through the left-handers, and it looks like he's backed off now. Or is he taking this full beans? I can't tell. No, that's gonna be
it's
that's the pit lane. Yeah, this track's weird because there's not. It's just a lot of green and stripes, and I can't tell if I'm going fast or slow. But that'll do it. Hoopalicious into the pits, and folks, your starting order as it stands right now. It's gonna be Chandler Seda P1, Hoopalicious P2, Ginger P3. Gamer tag doesn't match. Same person, I assure you. B Dunk P5, Ed P6, Brackish P7, Delirious P8, Kingkirk P9, and Double OT P10. As for your Choose Your Own Adventure category, we have Cheesy Train in P11, Andre Myrie, Mr. Rhymer, Saxman, DeShadow, and the screen's just kicked me off, so we'll have to run through that one more time. What'd you think of that quali session, IB?
it's great. I'm really excited for this race. I'm really excited to watch the top 10 here. Hopefully, we can get the choose your own adventure category to mix up a little bit and push a lot closer. I mean, we're still within a second all the way back to P12 um, for all those drivers. So
Yeah,
it's going
look
to
at
be a
that. That's
great race.
so tight, so tight. And then from there, even the latter half of the field, the 105 gang right here between Saxman down to Run the Jewels very close, and then Nick had the retirement obviously, and then Boss Cookie looks like he only set that one time. So you never know. With the driver of Boss Cookie's caliber starting from the back of the field, it could always make for interesting overtaking and strategies.
Yeah, maybe in that McLaren he can pull some Lando Norris luck and pull it off pretty well, right?
Yeah, that was oh man, that's did you see his comments he was making the other day when he called up all those people before his race?
Oh yeah, he called Max. He called Zach Brown. He called his chief strategist.
What did he say to
at McLaren.
George? I wanted to call a friend who's got a lot of experience starting P19.
That was so horrible. And then George said something smart back, and I know Lando was like, "Oh yeah," until Kubica, passes you in like turn two, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's too
It's
much, man."
lots of banter for sure. But it's always good to see that maybe not taking the job too seriously, especially, in it is what it is. This strange time period in world history, not just Formula One, but a lot of these guys were pretty much primed and ready to rock, and had the rug kind of pulled out from them at the last minute.
For sure. I mean, it's extremely strange. I know that I was at the Thunder game the night that they canceled the game due to the Jazz player, but it looks like we're getting ready to go underway.
Oh yeah, on formation lap now. Yeah, poor Rudy Gobert licking microphones. We don't condone that kind of behavior here at PPR. We strongly encourage all of our viewers and followers to wash their hands frequently and maintain a safe social distance of 6 feet minimum.
Hey,
Anywho,
you think our distance is enough? I mean, I know that you're in California, I'm in Oklahoma. You think we're good?
I th- I think we should be fine. Though I do know the Xbox servers caught a case of something over the weekend, so let's hope nothing of the sort happens tonight. Knocks on wood. Curse of the commentator never seems to be far from me. These drivers right now are going to be getting their tires warmed up here. Let's take a look at the tire details. And it seems only Reimer and Saxman, as well as our back row starters, Boss Cookie and Nick, have opted for the medium tire. But everyone else is looking to go uber aggressive and just go for that soft to the medium one stop.
It looks like Chandler really wants to get this on his way. He's pulled away a little bit there at the end of the first sector, coming into sector two, and now he's backing them all up. So it's pretty interesting here.
Well, this is certainly one of those tracks where you can sail off into the distance pretty easily. The dirty air phenomena in F1 is notorious for kind of creating those gaps. But if you can be in clear air the whole time, you can really, really put in those hot laps. You won't be seeing much of the Renault car, will you?
Now, I think that our top four here, and if B Dunk can kind of hold in there, they're going to run away and break away from the pack pretty quickly here. So let's get ready for the start, man. I'm excited.
Oh, I know. It's very exciting things. The hills are alive with the sound of Formula One here on PPR. I'm Best. This is IB, and we are almost ready to go. The final cars are approaching the grid right now. The green flags are being waved, and we are about to get underway. Lights out, and we're underway in Spielberg. Ooh, and that's going to be a big bunch of wheel spin for Ginger, and he's dropped a position already. That's Chandler up in the P1. Capita Hood now sweeping around the outside of the Mercedes. Hoopalicious fighting for P2, and there is action all over the field now. That Red Bull and that Mercedes going side by side up the hill here. Hoopalicious has the inside line. Who's going to break later? Trying to get the early move done. The Red Bull's going to try to make the move done. He'll have to concede to Hoopalicious there. B-Dunk now tucked to the right of Hoopalicious. We might have three wide situation coming down the back straight here. Let's hope this sorts itself out very cleanly. That Williams is going to try to take the inside. Bit of a lockup there, and the Red Bull still trying to get the move stuck around the outside. Nothing really going there. Andre Mairi falling way down the field. Is that a type of damage you can see there, IB?
From what I saw, we did have a notification that he left the session. It looks like his car is ghosted at this time.
Oh, no, that's very unfortunate. And now I'm seeing that Mr. Reimer has received a penalty for cutting a corner.
Oh, it looks like we got Andre Mairi back. That is good news. Boss Cookie, though, I would say the big winner here. Moving all the way up to P15. PPR Nick following him not far behind either. I think we are on a move here for sure with those guys in the back, trying to get up there to the midfield in their respective places and fill back in.
And Boss Cookie must have had the start of a lifetime. He is way up the field. And we got is that a retirement? It looks to be the Red Bull of Delirious not moving at all. He's actually retired in the same spot Ricardo did back in 2018.
Yeah, it looks like that is going to be end of session for him. I can't really get a good look.
We got Jay Lee coming around the corner right now. Let's see if he can get an eye on the situation. It looks like he had to serve a 5-second there. He wasn't moving in the pits for very long.
Oh, that was a big spin around from Delirious. Let me double check that for you. You know, benefit of having two commentators is we can check that incident report and see what's going on here.
Yes. Oh, and that's going to be a VSC. No surprise there. Car stopped right outside the pit exit. And we got a Ferrari going very slow on the track. That is DeShadow Wolf, who I believe is filling in for Caspita tonight. Looks like he may have spun under safety car and fallen to the back of the pack. Nothing to be ashamed of there. I actually did that during my D3 race before my wheel fell apart on me right after the safety car restart.
Were you trying to use a DAS there? Mercedes system?
Yeah, I maybe should have checked with Thrustmaster if they had implemented that update in the next patch. But,
so it looks like the only driver here so far with a penalty is going to be Reimer for corner cutting. It looks like he gained a position and has a 5-second time penalty. Everybody else at this point just has warnings, so we are good to go at this point, other than the safety car. So hopefully this will allow. Oh, it looks like it's already over.
Yes, it is. And in fact, we've got a very tight train running through Sector 2 here. The Mercedes of Hoopalicious leading B-Dunk, leading Capita Hood, leading Ginger. Very tight train, but all this battling in the lower podium positions is letting that Renault of Chandler get untethered and kind of sail off into the distance. They're already pulling out almost a 3-second gap. Already a turn ahead now, it looks, through the end of Sector 3 there. But let's turn our attention now to B-Dunk, who is hot on the tail of Hoopalicious, looking to make some gains. We got yellow flags.
We have a spin here. It looks like Ginger has spun off the track and is dropping down greatly. Ginger is all the way back to 15th now at this point.
Ginger's back to 15th. I see Ginger in P5 now, leading ARL Brackish.
Is my game glitching?
Perhaps. Yes, perhaps. B-Dunk going for the overtake right now. Oh, there it is. Yeah, my game wasn't displaying it. All of a sudden, Ginger has dropped back to P17. You'd be correct. I'm not quite sure what just happened there. Little Codemasters usual up to their usual tricks, but no matter. Is he going to be going into the pits there, or is that a connection issue?
I'm not 100% sure. It looks like he is back in control, though, and trying to clean up and hopefully get a couple of quick laps in here. You know, we've seen Ginger pit in very early stages of race and go to the end before with extremely old tires. I wouldn't be surprised if that was his strategy at this point, as Chandler Seda sets the fastest lap of the race so far with a
And we've
107.4.
got a great battle here, actually. Double OT sliding all over the track, trying to defend against the Toro Rosso of Brackish into turn one. Double OT going a little bit defensive, taking that inside line. Brackish is going to cut that corner straight away.
And gain a 3-second time penalty on top of it.
Yeah, maybe not the brightest move there. And maybe not at after all. That's going to be a retirement by Cheesy Train.
Safety car.
And a full safety car. Is that another car in the pit lane? Same spot. Same spot as Delirious, it looks.
Is this going to turn into a turn 5 at Australia?
Oh, it very well could. You did, of course, watch the Australia exhibition, and that was a rough go at it, wasn't it?
Oh, for sure. We definitely lost a lot of drivers, and that even caused us to have a little bit of a change going into the next race there at Bahrain last week with our damage settings. But yeah, it looks like that we have lost 2 drivers at this point, as PPR Nick picks up a 3-second time penalty.
And on top of that, our race leader is going to dive into the pits here, hope to get the stop done and out of the way. King Kirk getting a 5-second. Errol Brackish getting a 5-second. Severe collision with Ed. Was that some safety car collisions, perhaps?
I would assume so. It looks like they are fighting into the pit lane.
Oh, of course.
Because he was trying to get around Kirk in the pit entrance.
F1 drivers really will take any advantage they can get. The video games are not any different. Order getting shuffled way around. Strategies really kind of being tossed up in the air here. Ed
Hoobalicious and Debunk on hards.
Oh, very interesting strategy indeed. Maybe looking to finish the race on those white striped tires. All this pit stop action will promote the racing point of Ed into P1, which I'm sure he is relishing at the moment, and now already thinking about how he can maybe get the undercut done on his teammates, or maybe there will be some team orders involved there. We will have to see.
You know, it's going to be really interesting to see what these medium runners are thinking, because the hard probably can make it to the end of the race. I haven't looked at strategy for this race, so I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if these mediums can make it quite yet. We're only about 6 laps in.
Yeah, the word on the street was it was a one-stop, soft mediums. So if you're going onto those mediums now, you're probably betting on some kind of window opening up where you could go right back onto the red striped tires and maybe make a mad dash at the end on light fuel.
I sure hope so for the strategist's sake on these teams and these drivers making up their own strategy here. Hopefully they've done their research and done plenty of homework to know. I know that Kirk always does, as he's one of my good friends that I drive with quite often. I don't know too much about these other guys, but I'm sure that they are the same.
I know for me, even all the way down in Division 3, I do a GP simulation usually a day before, kind of like a race sim, where I'll pick basically probably just the Mercedes, and I'll just try to run the strategy and get a feel for what works at a track and what doesn't. I'm sure that applies for most of the drivers here, though, as well. Do you have maybe some tricks you have up your sleeve you're willing to share with the crowd?
I mean, I practice a lot because I mean, in all honesty, we all know already from the last 2 expedition races that I'm not the best driver and it's not my strengths. But I mean, definitely, I do a lot of practice. I do a lot of free practice and open up a multiplayer lobby and do 90-minute sessions and stuff to figure out race strategies and to figure out tire life and really what my limits are for my tire wear personally. With these shorter races, I'm not 100% sure on these strategies. So hopefully, these guys have done their homework. It's going to be very interesting. Who do you think is going to become the biggest winner out of the shuffle here, and has the best chance to maximize the safety car?
It is really hard to say. I think safe money would put any of the hard striped runners to maybe be in it towards the end of the race there. But I really like. I'm a gambling man. I kind of think that the Racing Points might really see a positive out of this, because they're just sticking to the strategy they've got, and they're on pace for it. Though they have to stop one more time. Those tires will be newer later in the race, maybe compared to the guys who've already gone in. But safety car is in this lap. Ed's going to back up the pack here before making the long run down to the start line, and he's away. Back up to speed. Of course, the only rule is you cannot pass until you've crossed the timing line, and until you cannot slow down either if you were the leader. into that long right bending turn. We got Ed leading Chandler, leading Andre Myrie, and it is green flags here in Spielberg. B Dunk also in P4, Hoopalicious P5, Capita Hood P6, Double OT P7, Brackish P8, Boss Cookie P9, King Kirk P10. Bringing up the rest of the field, we have Saxman, Nick, Jay Lee, Mr. Reimer, Run the Jewels, DeShadow, and Ginger, who I am now seeing in the chat actually had a Wi-Fi malfunction, which has caused this sudden drop in performance, both for his car on track and his race so far.
Let's see. Did somebody just drop down there? I saw a lot of movement down there at the bottom. A lot of shuffling for position back there. It does look like, though, that we have a pretty good battle up top. Still, the question is do we think Hoopalicious is going to go for a pass here on this next straight, having the smallest gap to beat up?
Certainly is something to watch. Having a bit of a tough run through there, though, through the twisty bit. And that's a car on his outside. That's going to be the Red Bull Capita Hood. Having a look on Hoopalicious. And they're going to try to go too wide through the turn 10 there. And that's Capita Hood in that slipstream of Hoopalicious. But Boss Cookie riding alongside of Capita Hood here into turn 1. Ooh, really late on the brakes for the McLaren, the Red Bull. Looking at, he's trying to get the cutback. Very clever move by Capita there, kind of disappearing from the rearview mirrors of that McLaren, running up the hill now. Who's going to break? Ooh, and they've made contact into the turn 3, Looks like everyone's left each other enough room there, but the McLaren of Boss Cookie will come out on top through that battle. Very tense racing already.
I mean, I would say in these first 10 laps, Boss Cookie has definitely earned his paycheck today from McLaren. I mean, coming from the back of the grid all the way up, he's definitely got some Lando Norris luck in that McLaren seat today, and it's carrying him up the field. I'm really starting to think he might be somebody to watch out for, even after having that rough qualifying session.
And it's only getting sweeter for the McLaren team right now. He's making the move on Andre Myrie, pulling to the inside of him, actually opting to let him through, letting that McLaren now have a chance to run down Hoopalicious and B-Dunk here for the pit straight. Flying up the field. Let's go ahead and have a look at the positions gained today on track. And it looks to be Boss Cookie has gained 13 positions from his grid box. The other big winners, Ed and B-Dunk, moving up into the podiums, opting to stay out under safety car. Andre Myrie is up 5 positions. PPR Nick also up 9 positions from his grid box. Ginger, of course, kind of being on the other end of the spectrum, dropping down the order. Double OT is going to get a 3-second time penalty there. Lots of corner cutting that really isn't intentional here. Isn't that the case?
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of people really trying to, hit the apex properly and either getting pushed a little wide. It's very easy to run wide on a lot of these really high-speed corners, as Ed just run wide or, at least gained another 3-second penalty here again. I think that he might be starting to feel the age of those tires, but he's doing very well to stay up there in the top.
Yeah, and this is one of those tracks where the ends of the car do like to swap through those corners. Capita Hood picking up another penalty. He might be in a bit of a penalty trouble here heading into the middle stages of this race.
For sure. It looks like Boss Cookie is right on the end of Ed and Debunk. They are fighting for position, and Boss Cookie is just sitting here waiting. He's like, is something going to happen? Open up the door for me. Let me have it.
And it looks like he's going to have a look at the racing point here, up the inside. That should be a no-drama move. Yes, and it's done. That racing point's going to get shoved just a touch wide, but it looks to be a clean move done. Boss Cookie now into the podiums, chasing down B-Dunk. Wow, what a sensational drive so far.
For sure. I'm really excited to see how this ends up here. Hopefully he can reel in B-Dunk and just kind of tuck in back there. And, maybe if they don't fight each other too hard, they might be able to catch Chandler, as he's already pulled out a 3.5-second gap, with us only being 2 laps green at this point.
Well, that really didn't take any time at all. They might benefit now from just kind of putting their foot down and getting back in the fight here, because it is a long race to go. Still 24 laps left in this race. A lot of drivers maybe will think long-term here. It doesn't seem to be that B-Dunk's really hindering Boss Cookie's speed, but Boss Cookie is on those older soft tires. So would it benefit him to just stay? Oh, he's done it for me. He's right around the Williams into turn 3.
He also did pick up a 3-second penalty through turn one, so he's already in penalty trouble. Hopefully, he doesn't have enough to hinder his race, as it's already been an amazing drive, and he can carry on here and hopefully, catch up here to Chandler Seda.
Yeah, and we've got B-Dunk's not really letting him go quite yet. B-Dunk, though, maybe just going to be thinking about his tires. He's got to try to make these go 24 more laps. And he is also on the identical strategy with Hoopalicious. Hoopalicious maybe running, do you think he's running a little close, perhaps, and running in that dirty air, or has he kind of given himself enough of a gap to run comfortably and save battery and fuel?
I would say you need to be a little bit farther back, pretty close to the limit of DRS range here, because obviously you don't want to lose that speed advantage, but you do want to maintain your tires as much as possible. I'm really curious, are we about to see team orders here on Brackish and Saxman? It looks like Saxman has a little bit more pace than Brackish at this stage, even though they are on the same compound.
Yeah, we will have to see. Off the top of my head, I do believe that the individual with championship preference would be Brackish. So if Saxman maybe gets in a tussle with him, it could get awkward. But for now, he's doing fine, just staying right behind his teammate.
I think he's trying to see what's going to happen here between Ed.
Oh yeah,
and
and that's a snap of oversteer, but he's caught it well.
They're gone. Ed and Brackish are off the track.
I didn't even catch that on the cameras. What happened?
They collided and they both just slid straight off the track there.
Oh wow, folks! You have to forgive me on the coverage for completely whiffing that, but that is going to be front wing damage for the Toro Rosso, as well as the Racing Point. So that will definitely mean another pit stop here. And my prediction of the Racing Point benefit has kind of fallen apart, hasn't it?
For sure. On Brackish here, what do you do strategy at this point? I think mediums personally.
Brackish on those hards. Yeah, the mediums could probably make it to the end. I'm seeing in the chat from Sprightly that you can stretch those mediums to about 25 laps pretty comfortably at this track.
I think Brackish is confident enough on his tires that he could definitely make mediums last to the end. If both these drivers don't go on mediums, I'm going to be extremely surprised, I think. Looks like we do have medium compound for Ed and Brackish, so they should be good to the end of the race. It does look like Boss Cookie is pulling out a gap, at least on Hoopalicious, but he is not caught up to Chandler yet, not taking too much time out as he goes around the middle sector here.
Certainly. And let's see, for those cars running from the rear, you'll be thinking that the cars that still have to pit, definitely Jay Lee, DeShadow, Andre Myrie, Nick, and Boss Cookie will all have to pit again. But the medium hard crowd is on a toss-up. Oh, and that first of those kind of long, soft runners is into the pits. Andre Myrie diving in there. Probably going to go onto the, I believe the medium compound at this stage would be feasible. Nick getting served a time penalty there. Multiple
Looks
warnings.
like we might see Capita Hood try to pull a move here on B-Dunk.
Very
soon.
tight train running down the back straight at the moment.
It's going to be really challenging, though, with both of them having DRS, trying to pull in Hoopalicious there. Capita Hood, though, on the softest compound tire here, he should really have the pace advantage through these tighter corners.
Well, you saw that lockup from B-Dunk. He is certainly feeling the pressure from being in this Red Bull Mercedes sandwich. Certainly never a good place to be. Running on those hard tires, yeah, the mediums really do. They're good for about an extra, maybe 2 or 3 tenths faster a lap, perhaps, under racing conditions.
Yeah, I believe that is what the readout from Pirelli predicts. I think, though, that it's kind of getting neutralized by the fact that he has that extra DRS right now from staying so close to Hoopalicious. B-Dunk is really going to have to deplete that battery, though, to keep Capita Hood behind.
It really is a bit of a NASCAR esque strategy right now. Everyone just staying very close, but just not close enough to really get any moves done. Speaking of, Ginger is going to fly past King Kirk there into turn 1. Let's see how they do on the drag race down to the downhill braking zone. But it looks like that Alpha's made an incredible recovery drive so far. Was at the back of the field at one point. Good for Ginger.
Same thing we saw last week at France from Ginger. Messed up on the first lap, recovery drive to actually win the race. Hopefully, he's got the pace to at least get up there on this one. But,
But looks
we'll
like
see.
that Ferrari's gotten underneath him, and he's pushed him into the gravel. King Kirk getting all out of shape with Ginger, and that looks to be very, very obtuse move. Not really sure what he thought was going there. Tried to submarine the front wing of his Ferrari underneath the Alfa Romeo there. Very questionable driving from, I believe that was King Kirk, but he's taken that position. And unfortunately, he has torpedoed what was really kind of a great recovery drive for Ginger there. Did you catch that?
So I think we're having another internet issue here with Ginger, because Ginger is still showing in P8 for me, ahead of Kirk.
Xbox Live really coming in clutch tonight.
I mean, hopefully it figures itself out here one way or another, hopefully for the better of Ginger, as we really don't want to see his race messed up from just internet connection issues.
Certainly, and Cap the Hood now making a move on Boss Cookie, or at least trying to. Cap kind of having some struggles here at the top of the field. That McLaren staying nice and planted in front of him, and now putting a nice gap between him and the Williams, taking some of that pressure off of B-Dunk and Hoopalicious, who now can just focus on getting to the end of this race in one piece.
For sure. It does look like it.
He's run very wide through the final turn there, and that will cost him vital time to the cars ahead.
Yeah, it does push him right outside of DRS. PPR Nick also having a great recovery race. He is getting closer and closer to Saxman with each lap here. Hopefully we'll see him in the top 5 if he can break down that extra gap there. He is definitely on the softest tire, and it should really be able to help him get past Saxman, and if his pace is good enough, hopefully catch up to that top 5 group.
Yeah. And we've got cars actually going too wide now into the bottom of the downhill braking portion, both locking up side by side. That's going to be B-Dunk and Hoopalicious in a dogfight here. One car looking to finally gain an advantage over the other and try and catch that Renault. That's B-Dunk sweeping inside of that Mercedes, and that is Hoopalicious conceding as we make the run down. But Hoopalicious is going to try to come back at him here, I think, maybe into the downhill braking portion. Ooh, that's a stopped McLaren on the track. That is Run the Jewels. Is that going to...
It does look...
Oh, he's kept the car going.
In the pit. Oh, no. Boss Cookie pitted. I apologize. Wrong McLaren.
That was Jules getting all out of shape. No problem there. But yes, Boss Cookie is into the pits, and he will be going on to, looks like those medium stripe tires. Try to go to the end on those.
Getting ready to make a turn here pass here into turn 3. He's got the inside line. Can he settle it down? Oh, it looks like B-Dunk got a good exit there.
It's going to be a drag race.
Who can make it? Who's going to be the last of the great breakers here?
And it looks like that Mercedes has just stayed in front. Hoopalicious saying, I'm the last of the late breakers today, and he will take that position. Ooh, but it's getting real close there. Another yellow flag. That looks to be a McLaren stopped on the pit entrance.
That is Jules stopped there on the pit entrance. Making it into the pit lane, though, so that yellow flag should clear up before they get there, as it has. You know, Hoopalicious and B-Dunk, they have been a great battle for us here at PPR. Also in the Australia event that we had 2 weeks ago. They were extremely close. The whole entire battle for first was between there as B-Dunk runs wide coming back onto the track, hopefully trying to hang in there and push on so he can get back into this passing position going into the drag race area here. I think we should just call this the drag strip. What do you think?
I think that's a great way to put it. I was going to say you could just call it the Toretto Straight. Nothing like a quarter-mile run.
Got to shift 18 gears, though, right?
Yeah, it turns out it takes about 15 minutes to run a quarter mile in Los Angeles, but that's traffic for you. Hoopalicious, though, and yes, B-Dunk, it's only a 3/10 difference. That's Nick falling down the order, and it looks to be Nick stopped on track. He's got the car underway again. What kind of damage is he rocking over there? Can you get a look on that?
I'm going to take a look right now and see what we got going on. Looks like no damage to the front wing that I can tell. Everything looks fine. I'm wondering if he just lost the back end coming up there around that tight hairpin turn 3, and it kind of got him sideways.
Oh, I certainly wouldn't put that past any driver on this track. Those rear tires, if you spin them up just a little too fast on the exit, you can find yourself playing a game of Twister with the tarmac.
Hey, it looks like we've got good news for Ginger. Ginger didn't fall back, or even if he did, he's already pulling up to P5, chasing down Capita Hood.
I'm beginning to think he's got a teleporter installed on that Alfa Romeo.
That's the trick. That's how he keeps winning these races, man. I need to get that modification. I can't believe the FIA haven't deemed that illegal.
Well, you know how it goes. As long as you can get a settlement and a quiet non-disclosure agreement, anything's possible in this sport. Cough, cough.
Ouch. You know, as a Ferrari fan, I take that a little personally.
I'm sorry. I mean no harm by it. I respect the hell out of that entire outfit, especially all the Tifosi fans out there. Please don't hurt me. I'm okay. I'm cool with Ferrari. I'm very cool, but
You're just lucky. You're lucky we're all in quarantine right now. Yeah. Nobody can come after you, right?
I was gonna say, I don't think many Ferrari fans will be even bothering to pick up the phone for someone as insignificant as myself right now. But a B-Dunk now very close on the tail, and we've got ERL Thibault has joined the session. Perhaps another spectator hopping in here, or maybe someone's crew chief. Interesting who that might be helping out.
I know Kirk was begging me again to hop back in there and was hoping that I could be his crew chief tonight. I told him not a chance. I'm going up to the booth.
Ooh, and that's B-Dunk getting by a Hoopalicious. Really going late on the brakes there with a big lockup and a little wiggle of a steer there. Chandler getting a time penalty there. That will reduce his gap to about 10 seconds to B-Dunk, barring any penalties for the Williams driver. But that was a very close call there between that Mercedes and that Williams.
You know, this Mercedes and Williams pack, Hoopalicious and B-Dunk, they just keep these battles up. They're letting the lead slip away. But I definitely understand how important it is for every single championship point, especially the difference between second and third. They're really, really fighting. They're great drivers, and they're at the top of their caliber right now. Let's just hope that they don't come together at any point.
Oh, certainly not. We would certainly not wish that, as drivers do like to get it done on track. Speaking of, Hoopalicious coming back at the Williams. These two have been just trading blows, lap over lap now. Neither really seem to get any separation from the other. They're stuck on one another like glue. Now with the B-Dunk getting that DRS assistance down the back straight here, let's see. Hoopalicious is going to stick to the racing line, as will the Williams. Ooh, another big lockup there. Those brakes getting real hot after two big braking zones, but Hoopalicious now just trying to hold this line through Sector 2. Both these drivers very close all day. Pulling out only a 3/10 gap now, Hoopalicious, into the downhill portion. Let's see through the left-right, out to the left kiss there. Everyone keeping it real smooth. Let's see what line this had to take through the downhill portion. Everyone likes to take that little bit of that inside curb. Of course, running over the rumble strips there, getting a good exit and some DRS for the Williams. 4/10 back now. Let's see if we can get that gap down to 3/10. Ooh, Hoopalicious braking really early for that corner. That's going to force B-Dunk to run very wide on the exit. Maybe not anticipating that much of a lack of gap there. But
for sure. I'm starting to think these cars are painted wrong. Are we looking at a Ferrari and a Red Bull from last year? I mean, the way that these guys are going after each other lap after lap, it's very reminiscent of last year's Grand Prix.
Yeah, I was gonna. It very much is, and we sure would love to see a finish reminiscent of Max's lap 69 dive bomb into turn 3. And it looks like you're right though. Even though Chandler has kind of pulled out that nice gap, he will need to find about 7 to 8 more seconds before he can comfortably come out on another set of tires.
Is he gonna try to push it till the end?
I don't know. He just pushed that gap another second, but that might be more due to Hoopalicious in this dogfight. Ooh, Hoopalicious is going to run very wide and get a lot of oversteer onto the grass. B-Dunk will say thank you very much. Fly past him with a way better entry and exit through that corner into turn 1, and that's it's going to be move done. Hoopalicious may be feeling that those hards aren't going to get him to the end. Maybe not. Another move from the Mercedes back up in front. Ooh, wow, that's really close. Oh, and that's the Williams back up the inside there. It's just back and forth with these guys. It's like Rocky and Drago.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I'm watching the Ginger back here, pulling down a couple of tenths here every corner as we go around on average. Um, I don't know if there's enough time for him to catch up, but if Ginger can get involved in this, it's going to get hairy.
Yeah, and it seems to me he is a man on a mission, and he has not conceded defeat to any of his competitors in the positions in front of him. I cannot believe he has done. He really does have the pace, doesn't he? Saxman
Oh,
only 7/10 behind him. Sorry, you were saying?
no, it's amazing. And I mean, he's not even phased by Saxman being behind him. Most drivers with somebody already in, a second behind them, they're going to be stressing about DRS. They're going to be looking in their mirrors. Ginger here just continues to put in lap after lap, stable. I know just before I started talking about him, he was already at 7.8. Here we are already down to 6.6 gap. So he is definitely catching, and he is just towing Saxman along with him. So it's going to get real hairy here at the end, folks, if they can make up enough time.
Saxman loving this, kind of getting the old Moses effect, as they call it. Just gets to follow another car through to the end here. Look at that. Those hard tires really coming into the fold now. All the runners in the top 6 on them, except for our leader. Behind them, let's see, Boss Cookie on those mediums. Double OT on fresh softs, maybe hoping to chase down Andre Myrie. And then Nick at the back of the field just trying to find some pace.
Yeah, Nick had a little bit of a devastating blow there with that spin out, and it kind of kicked him out of the points. I know he was running real good up there. But it's also given, some other drivers like Kirk and Boss Cookie a chance that we're falling back. Reimer's still hanging in there with the same hard tires as well. I really think Chandler he's pushing it. He's gonna have to
That
pit.
gap's up to 16 now. He's kind of finding that time, putting in those green sectors over and over.
If he can gain maybe about 4 more seconds in the next couple laps, maybe he can get in and out. Otherwise, he's going to jump right into B. Duncan Hoopalicious if he has to pit.
Oh, that's Boss Cookie getting past King Kirk into turn 3 there. Also, I want to give a shout out to Run the Jewels. I know he'll hear this maybe after the race, but he, of course, had a bit of a run-in on the real-life road today, and we're very happy he is okay and he is in one piece. So we do wish him a speedy recovery, though, from his concussion, and we wish him well. And if you want to drop a thumbs up in the chat for him, feel free. We'll be sure to pass on any well wishes. But now back to the action. King Kirk kind of struggling to get those hards turned on, and Boss Cookie is just kind of sailing by him. Hoopalicious still just staying tucked in right behind B-Dunk. Still going lap for lap with these two. The Mercedes driver having another go at him through turn 2, up to turn 3. Let's see if they'll take the same line they did earlier. No, that Mercedes staying planted right in front. But the Williams is up the inside. Great traction through the exit of that corner. And he's gotten back in front. That Mercedes, no power on the exit there.
I think he's just got his rear tires a little too hot, trying to fight so much here. It's killing their tire. I'm surprised that they're able to fight this hard lap after lap and, be on 22 lap old tires. Get it that they're hards, but it's really not meant for lap after lap. You have to get into some kind of groove and you have to settle down. But these two, this is the rivalry of the century. It seems like in Formula One, period.
Step aside, Hamilton Rosberg.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at this point because even Hamilton and Rosberg, in 2016, they weren't passing as often as these guys. Most passes of the day have to be between these guys.
Oh, it looks like Chandler Sayed is gone for the late softs, and now he's caught in the middle of this dogfight between B-Dunk and Hoopalicious. We've got ourselves a very tasty 3-car battle, and lo and behold, look who is looming only 7 seconds behind with 7 laps to go. It's Ginger. Folks, it's all happening in the latter stages here at Spielberg. That's Hoopalicious now flying. Chandler Sayed just staying right in front on those fresh, soft tires. He will likely try to scamper away here, but B-Dunk's not going to let him get away with that. B-Dunk right on the back of that Renault, looking to get the move done through there. Going to have a look. Nothing really going. Chandler, though, staying just in front B-Dunk preciously, though, still in that DRS. Let's see how they stay into the downhill portion.
For sure, Chandler has to get those tires warmed up quickly with these guys right here pushing them this hard.
Oh, for sure. The last thing he would want to do is come out on Colt. Oh, we got a retirement. Is that Nick? Nick's in the pits.
Retired.
Very unfortunate for him. But now we're back underway, and look at that. Chandler Seda got that crucial 1 second gap going into the turn one. That might do it for him, folks.
Man, does that guy know how to push or what? I mean, that's astonishing just to see somebody pull away that quickly. I don't know what button he hit or what mode, the McLaren or the Renault team principal gave him there, but it's definitely helped.
Are you now familiar with the 1,000 horsepower engine?
Oh no,
the famous Renault Master engine.
Oh, is that what Daniel Ricciardo ended up buying into the team with?
Yeah, rather unfortunately, didn't he? That was quite the tough year for them last year. King Kirk now capping a hood in a bit of a tight one there. Let's have a look at that, shall we? Ooh, and that's capping a hood up, trying to go up the inside of Reimer there. And it looks like he's got it done. He's very much back in the fold now. This late soft stop, he'll have to make those go about 6 more laps. Chandler Seda is going to pick up a penalty now. That'll put him actually back within 1 second of Hoopalicious.
Actually, Chandler has 2 penalties now, doesn't he?
Oh, does he? What about Hoopalicious?
Let's double check those other drivers. I know for sure that Chandler has 2. Let's see here. So it looks like Hoopalicious has a couple warnings. I don't see any. Oh, Hoopalicious has 1 3-second here.
Sounds like nothing that can really change the situation on track then, huh?
Yeah, based off of what I'm seeing, of course, how you have to see this is not really the best and optimal. I wish you could kind of sort it by drivers, but it does look like Chandler has the 2 penalties. Hoopalicious, from what I can see, has 1. I'm not seeing B-Dunk's name on here, though, so he could
slither into that, maybe that P2 if he stays within that 1 second gap of the Mercedes.
Oh, for sure. I think that we're going to see... Oh, somebody spun. We had an Alfa Romeo spin. Looks like Reimer has spun coming around the last corner onto the straight.
Has he gotten back underway? Let's hope he doesn't collect any other vehicles in the process. But let's see, we got wheel-to-wheel action here on the back straight. That's B-Dunk. Oh, big lock up there, just trying to get by that Mercedes. He's had enough of looking at the back of that rear wing, and he would like his way through. Is that retirement on track from the Alfa Romeo there?
That is a retirement. It looks like it's a retirement on the straightaway, actually.
Oh, wow. That will probably bring out a VSC. There we go. VSC with only 4 laps to go. Why even bother with a pit stop unless you've got a gap, right?
Yeah, it looks like he ended up losing the front wheel trying to get back on track. Not really sure what happened there, but hopefully he's all right and we can get back underway.
No matter, we are back underway now. Green flags in Spielberg. B-Dunk back behind Hoopalicious. This is the battle to watch, folks. It's been the battle pretty much all race. Only 3 or 4 tenths separating these 2 drivers. B-Dunk, though, has kept his nose clean, has made those hard tires really go the distance. Still trying to get the move done on track, though. Maybe not hoping to do this with penalties. Hoopalicious leaving him a nice bit of room. Their door wide open. Great traction for that Williams. They're going to go side by side down the Toretto straight into the downhill portion. Who's going to have the bigger balls? It looks like B-Dunk's going to just slot himself in front, but there are still 3 laps of this race to go, and that's a car off the track.
That is a racing point. Let's see. Looks like that was Ed that had spun off the track there, going wide into the second of last turn, going onto the straight there. Back on his way, though, doesn't look like it cost him anything other than maybe a little bit of flat spot on those tires.
Well, that's good. You never want to find yourself in a position where you have to pit this close to home. B-Dunk and Hoopalicious here, though. Now, 2 laps to go. You can pretty much count it in your head of who's ahead of who will win this one. Sorry about the tongue twister, but you can kind of count your DRS zones here and figure out who's going to be in front, can't you?
I don't know. I mean, the DRS is definitely a big advantage on this track for sure, but we've seen them already go for passes in non-DRS zones in those 2 left hands, and then at the end of sector 3, going into the final turn, or the second to final turn there. So who knows? It really just depends on if Hoopalicious can keep this back end tamed down. It seems like it's been trying to slip away from him almost this entire.
Speaking of back ends, is that Capita Hood who spun there on the between turns 1 and 2? Is that Red Bull intact, or is he limping back to the end of this race?
It looks like him and Double OT just had a little bit of a collision there. Double OT was sideways. There is no front wing at all on the Red Bull, however.
Oh, very unfortunate for Cap, who is really putting in some hot laps there. He will have to limp his way home with only 2 laps to go. Very unfortunate for him in this race. That's kind of the end of Red Bull's day at their home race, isn't it?
It for sure is. Unfortunately, we saw Delirious crash out earlier, Capita Hood. I mean, what do? You pit now and you're at the back of the pack, or you stay out. So, I mean, we'll see here what he decides to do. He's really going to have to limp his way home.
He's already out of the points then, isn't he? It really won't matter because Brackish is coming right around him. Yeah, that's Cap into the pits now. He will probably either just retire or call it a day. But B-Dunk still staying within that 4/10 crucially with only 2 laps to go. Do you think the Williams drivers got the beans to get it done? That battery's looking very low, actually. How's Hoopalicious telemetry looking?
Let's see. Looks like Hoopalicious still has roughly 40% battery. So it's going to be really interesting. I know that B-Dunk is definitely pushing, but I wouldn't put it past him to save everything until this lap. This is a lap for everything to happen.
And there's going to be a little traffic in front of him. Will Capita Hood maybe back up that Mercedes a little bit? Oh, looks like he's actually ghosted. Never mind. Anyway, though, back to the action. We got the Mercedes leading the Williams here. And he's just going to go right through the ghost of Capita Hood there, maybe. But it looks like B-Dunk may have just pulled it out here. Excuse me, Hoopalicious might have just pulled it out here and is probably going to hold this lead, barring any kind of drastic on-track changes.
The only thing that I'm worried about is that penalty for him. It's still going to push him down to third, but in Chandler, I mean, amazing drive from him, our leader tonight. He has absolutely got the penalties, really been pushing, obviously, but still pulled out plenty of a lead to be able to take the win.
Absolutely, and well done to him. That will be checkered flag for the Renault driver. Another victory on the season. Sensational result for him after throwing away that win. Hoopalicious will come home P2, but B-Dunk will get through there with penalties. B-Dunk is going to be P2, Hoopalicious P3, and Ginger not far behind them at all. P4, Saxman, P5. Saxman just followed that Alpha all the way through. Well done to him. And looks like we have a yellow flag in Sector 3. It looks to be Run the Jewels has entered finishing the race in the pits.
Is that Run the Jewels or is that Boss Cookie?
I can't quite tell you.
It's
Boss Cookie finishing in the pits. Okay, buddy. Whatever floats your boat. So
he's lucky to have that pit box a little bit past the start-finish line, right?
I was going to say, that'd be rather unfortunate if that wasn't the case. But that'll do it. Your rest of your points finishers, King Kirk, Andre Myrie, Boss Cookie, Double OT Brackish, and the screen has changed. IB, give me your driver of the day.
Driver of the day for me is definitely Ginger Horizon. Fell back, had a really hard race, and still pulled off a top 5 finish. Extreme talent there as always. Never somebody to not, say has the ability to finish a podium.
Certainly. And maybe it wasn't a podium today for him, but certainly a good race. Congratulations to our podium drivers as well. Chandler, B-Dunk, Hoopalicious, have yourself a ball during this time of self-isolation. As for the rest of our viewers, thank you for coming out. The chat was alive and well. You know, we always appreciate your feedback. If you're interested in joining PPR Esports, the link in the bio below will have information to the rest of our divisions and leagues. Do check us out. We have racing Mondays, we have racing Tuesdays, we have racing Wednesdays, and we have racing Fridays. And now for the rest of this kind of great indoors time period, we have 100% races coming every single Saturday for the time being. So tune into those. We might be mixing those up as well. Thank you all for joining us. I am your host, Best. IB, any closing thoughts?
Thank you so much, guys. Always appreciate you all stopping by. Make sure you subscribe. That way you can get notifications for future and upcoming races.
Wonderful. Thank you, IB. Thank you all. This is your host, Best Teon. And as always, stay classy.